You've had 3 strikes laws, mass incarceration, denied us of who we are, and we are still here. And today you'll take the only majority black district from us. But I want you to know, and I want my nephew, sons, and the future to know, no matter what you do, no matter how much you try and break us and make us bend and make us quit, we will still be here.
What we are told to profess. So anyone who misused the Bible to enslave people, misused the Bible to keep people in bondage, they were wrong then as you are wrong now. I refuse to support this legislation because the lens by which you are viewing the world is toxic, is damning, is wrong, and is immoral. And you, my fellow colleagues, should do much more work in understanding the history of this country and understanding the history of enslavement and the consequences that it continues to wreak and the barriers it continues to create in this state and around the country. No one should ever be able to use Christianity as justification for the enslavement of people, especially not someone who has the audacity to call themselves a legislator.
Tennessee lawmakers tries to justify slavery with the Bible. Told y'all it was coming. Let's watch the video.
As far as our founding fathers and those that owned slavery, it is important not to dilute history. We need to understand and know what that is so that we don't repeat those mistakes. But the Bible also says that we will be judged in the time of our culture. And at that time, it was a common practice. Not saying that's right or wrong. The Bible actually does instruct those who do own slaves on how to treat them and to treat them fairly and kindly. But our founding fathers definitely believe that all men were created equal, and it was those beliefs that moved us from the position of slavery to where we are today. So this particular legislation does not advocate to teach those things. I think we have many other pieces of civic education that likely does include that, but this intention for this legislation is for that to not necessarily be included.
Get in here, like my boy Gaddy say. Shout out to Gaddy. Hey, check it out. Class, didn't I tell y'all? Class, just the last time I was live, didn't I tell y'all in the near future, they was going to be trying to use the Bible to justify slavery. I told y'all it is very dangerous when these politicians start using religion as a rally cry for war or for anything, because once politicians start using religion to do that, then they can discriminate against all these other groups. They can discriminate against anybody. Oh yeah, let's do this because the Bible says it. And I told my class that these white Christian nationalists is going to use the Bible to justify returning black people to slavery. Everybody want to talk about, no, they ain't, what they ain't. Yeah, we can talk all that tough shit, but they got a military. They got drones, they got bombs. So you might not want to go, but they damn sure gonna make the attempt if you're not prepared. And that's my problem with our people. We love talking about what ain't gonna happen. Yeah, you might not want it to happen, but if they're more prepared than you, they damn sure gonna try to make it happen. So why are we not getting prepared? Why are we not preparing ourselves for whatever might be coming? That's all I'm telling y'all, man. Wake up. It's a lot of crazy shit going on. And these people using the Bible, these people don't even know what the Bible is. They don't even know what that information is about. This is why people need to come and learn, bro. A lot of that shit was added to the Bible. All right? So at the end of the day, I told y'all, man, class, did I tell you? I said they're going to be trying to use the Bible to justify slavery.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Was that a lie? And are we going to teach that?
No, that is not a lie. And it's that the founders believe that so much that they put that into our founding documents. At the time, and you'll remember history, that it took many hundreds of years to be able to rectify what our culture at that time. But putting those words into the documents is what allowed us to move forward unfortunately, it inched. It wasn't an immediate change, but those words ring true still today. And it's the progress that we have made as a culture and the values that America was founded on have allowed us to move forward and to be able to recognize that all men are created equal.
Representative McKenzie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm a black man, and the person that had me during those times was a black man. When historically accurate, not cultures and evolution and how things evolved, but historically accurate, that was a lie. My forefather was not treated equally, was not considered to be a man. So for you to say we're going to have this historically accurate teaching and not teach that.
Racist tools of white supremacy at the behest of the most powerful white supremacist in the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. What you are doing today is eviscerating the only black majority congressional district in our state because we are majority black. We are here because this Republican Party has to seek to steal elections and seats because the president and the party have refused to address the pain, the suffering, and the struggling of everyday Tennesseans. This is about attacking, targeting, and cracking District 9 into pieces for more political and racial dominance and white supremacy in the state of Tennessee. And we need to realize that the Calais decision that you all are basing your decisions off of, that gutted the Voting Rights Act, that Voting Rights Act was paid in blood. It was not just a parchment of paper signed into law. It was paid in blood on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Paid in blood by Medgar Evers, paid in blood by Fannie Lou Hamer. It's been paid in blood year over year, time after time, assassination after assassination, lynching after lynching, so that more people might be able to ascertain access to this constitutional democratic republic experiment that is currently being gutted and seeking to be gutted by this chamber, by this House, this Senate, and this state. We are still here. This nation, this state has legislated and legalized the worst things in humanity, including our enslavement, and we are still here. Right in this country where, as one black woman said, your ancestors enslaved us, denied us of our rights, called us 3/5 of a person, and yet we are still here. You put us on cotton plantations and tobacco plantations. You denied our human rights and our right to exist as children of God, and we are still here. You destroyed Tulsa. You killed and lynched black folks on Poplar Tree. Shelby County, Tennessee had the most lynchings of anywhere in this state where you're taking this district, and we are still here. You've had 3 strikes laws, mass incarceration, denied us of who we are, and we are still here. And today you'll take the only majority black district from us. But I want you to know, and I want my nephew, sons, and the future to know, no matter what you do, no matter how much you try and break us and make us bend and make us quit, we will still be here.
So welcome back, family. What you just saw in those footages wasn't a mere political debate. Rather, it was an attempt to gaslight an entire community, right? So when you hear a lawmaker say that freedom was there for everyone, they're talking about a piece of paper from 1776. They're talking about that article from Times, right? They are really talking about the lives of our ancestors. They're putting out a claim that the struggles, the chains, the exclusion of black community was just but a misunderstanding. So today we're going to talk about the black community's right to own its own history, and we're going to break down the difference between paper freedom and the lived reality, and also we're going to look at how the same tactics were used to which were used to ignore us in the past are being used to erase our power today. So for those who are new to this channel, welcome to the Nick Report, and I'm your host Nick. This is the home of the unfiltered truth and the watchdog of our community.
This image is going to be in history books. A black Tennessee state representative named Justin Pearson was physically blocked from attending a meeting involving the district that he was elected to represent. We can see the sergeant at arms on the right there blocking the doorway, refusing entry to this state representative. This was a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing regarding a highly controversial redistricting plan. The sergeant at arms blocked Pearson at the door. He was kept outside and forced to watch the proceedings on his phone. The meeting was about a map that fractured the majority black 9th Congressional District, the last one in Tennessee, and the same area Representative Pearson represents. The redistricting plan, which unfortunately passed, carves Memphis into 3 separate majority white districts. Republicans even said the goal was to maximize partisan advantage to support the national GOP's congressional majority. Here's why this is so ridiculous. Memphis is 62.9% black. They're recognized as the largest majority black city in the United States. Now they have 0 representation because Donald Trump is terrified that he's going to lose the midterms.
Chaos erupted in Memphis, Tennessee as the most racially gerrymandered map passed, and this photo says everything. It shows State Rep Justin Pearson being blocked from a meeting about redrawing the map for the district he represents. And now the 99% white GOP chambers decided to divide Memphis into 3 majority white districts, completely eliminating a black majority anywhere in a state with one of the largest black populations in the US and a long history of racial violence. But this isn't just happening in Tennessee. After the Supreme Court gutted the 1965 Voting Rights Act, the law passed in response to southern states deliberately silencing black voters. Those same states are moving to dilute black voices again. It's no coincidence they're the same ones that fought for the preservation of slavery. SCOTUS claims it's eliminating race-based districting, but that ignores the horrifying history of oppression against black people in America simply based on race. Experts say the ruling could trigger the biggest loss of black US House seats since Reconstruction ended in 1877. America never punished the Confederacy. That's why it's still alive and well.
So earlier today, the Tennessee legislature approved a new congressional map that will wipe out the state's only majority-minority district in an attempt to eliminate the state's 1 Democratic House seat. And I want to highlight this guy, Justin Pearson, who is a Tennessee state representative, but who is also running for U.S. House in this district, District 9, that just got redrawn today. And what's crazy about this new map is that this man's national political career may be ended before it ever even gets started because of this power grab by these white supremacist legislators. And I know we don't have any real power in a situation like this, but we can make his name known because he's on the ground fighting for justice, fighting against poverty, fighting for the people. So please share this video because we cannot let them get away with this without a fight.
So welcome back, family, and I'm really convinced that those footages were inspiring, right, and insightful, right? So as I promised you earlier in the introduction, we're going to talk about the lived reality, right, and the paper freedom. So when a politician says that freedom was always there for everyone, right? When the politician says that that all people were created equal, what is she, or what are they simply saying? If not that they are asking us as black community, forget the past memory, right? Forget the lived reality of our ancestors, right? Because we do know for real, that they weren't treated as human beings, right? Think about your grandparents. Think about the stories passed down in your family. Was that equality real for them? No. So for the black community, as it has always been from the past, terms like freedom, terms like equality were not even a promise. Rather, they were a contract that we were not allowed to sign, right? So by pretending that the intentions were good, those in power, that is the elites, make it seem like the black community struggle was unnecessary, right? But was it? Because we know the truth. We know that the black community didn't wait for equality to be rectified, right? Rather, we fought and we forced the country to change. So the debate about these history books is actually a debate about the future of black community. If you can convince the next generation that everything was fine from the start, then you take away their right to be angry about the problems we face today. If there's no original sin of exclusion, then there's no original solution like reinvesting in our neighborhood, right? And protecting and fighting for our voting rights. So by teaching a sanitized version of the history, right, they're trying to strip the black community of its strongest tool, and that is the truth. So let's talk about the maps Pearson mentioned, but let's look at it at the lens of community power, right? So for decades, the black community has built political hubs, neighborhoods where our voices carry weight, where we can elect people who actually know what it's like to live in our streets. So gerrymandering is a technical term for breaking up the family. It takes a strong, unified black community and break it into 4 pieces, carry it into 4 pieces, right? Then mix those pieces into areas where our concerns will be ignored, right? Areas where our interests and are not appreciated, right? So it's a modern version of saying that you can live here, but you have no power here, right? So it's a direct attack on the collective strength of the black community. So when Pearson says that we'll be here, right, he's talking about the survival and hope of the people, right? But despite the Bible being used against us, despite the laws being written to exclude us, and despite the maps which are drawn to weaken our strength, our collective strength as a community, the black community is still the heart of America that they cannot ignore and that they cannot deny, right? So against all odds, the black community has always been the truth teller of America. And if we let them take our history out of schools, right, then it necessarily means that we are letting them take our power out of future. So what's a story from your family history that proves the textbook version of equality is a lie? So let's begin a real archive in the comments and let's put the truth where they cannot erase it. So if you found this video informative, consider to subscribe, like, and share, because the truth only lives when we keep talking about it. When we keep speaking about our history to our children and their children, right? And their children and their children, then our history will be preserved for generations, right? So once again, this is the Nick Report, and I'm your host, Nick. Until next time, keep vigilant, stay vigilant, right?